we all of a sudden had a budget that we could work with, and we
Yeah.
could start to include some improvements.
Yeah.
And we knew that it was stable, because when you go to a farmer's market,
Yeah.
you never know. I mean, some days you do better than others, and some days some other farmers have all the same thing. The price goes to pieces, and you know. So plus, you're spending your time hauling it in there and marketing it and hauling it back, so you're getting retail, but you're absorbing the retailer's costs. And with a direct to the community, you know. Sometimes a little bit of what you grow is not perfect size or color or whatever. In a market situation, that's just loss.
Yeah.
But in a community-based situation, people can understand that it's not all going to be uniform.
Yeah.
They can use the food, and so automatically, you for all what you've produced, it's worth maybe 20% more to you. And it is a lot of work organizing and keeping in communication.
Yep.
But we've just found that to be much more enjoyable to do than trying to be in a market and trying to hawk everything. And I mean, you know, some people
and
enjoy that.
And much more open to that sort of gluts of supply. And
well, that's what I found out, that more people are involved with their food chain, the more they understand things and the more they get out of it. It's the sharing thing that becomes important.
It has a lot more meaning for people, and we have members in the Bay Area that have raised their kids the whole time on our food. And some of those kids have come back to the farm in the summer between school and, you know, help with things and just feel like it's a really important part of their life. And so it feels so much better to us to know that we're growing food for people that we know in lots of instances, and that they care about us, and that's a real motivation for us. But also it is creating a different paradigm, a different economic paradigm in the world. Because, you know, private market capitalism is pretty much based on some private party getting the gain, hopefully, but usually at the expense of the rest. And that's not reality. We're all interconnected. And so if one guy really makes out, then it's, you know, at the disadvantage of others. And so what we're doing is not basing the economic system on short-term gain or, you know, short-term bottom line profit. It's like meeting the needs of the earth is a player, meeting the needs of all the players. So it's the earth, the farmer, and the eaters. And what it takes to grow the food in a healthy way for the earth and for everybody, and provide that food, that's what food really costs.
That's right.
And if people can become conscious of that and can partner up with their local farmers, and you know, now the food system, 1,500 miles on most items, and you think of the pollution footprint and the carbon footprint in the atmosphere hit on all of that, and then those farms are bringing compost from hither and yon, all the carbon it took, you know, all the fossil energy it took to put that together, it's huge. And so if people would organize locally, like we feed 200 families, there's around 2,000 in this valley. If we had 10 farms like ours, you could feed everybody here. It could be totally sustainable, long-term sustainable, and healthy for the environment. But it can't happen until all of those people decide to spend their money and become co-producers with a farmer. That's the key. So it's an educational process, and it's a cultural change. And that's why we've tried to stay 100% community-based, to put that example out in the world and create that paradigm. Because, you know, in a way, that's, I mean, it's really important to have good, healthy, quality food. But nowadays, it's almost more important to try to change the whole system into something that's going to take care of us, because you know, we're headed for some major difficulties, and I'm sure young people are sensitive to that. And the last few years, we've encountered more and more young people that want to farm, but you know, where do you get the capital, and how do you start? And that's where we need everybody that eats is farming. They're
Yeah.
occupying land somewhere that food's being produced
Yeah.
on. It's just the connection is totally alienated and
Yeah.
broken down. So that's what we need, is for the people eating to get back, partner up with the young people that want to farm, you know, even figure out ways to get land, decommoditize it like we did, make it available at its farming value.
Yeah.
And, you know, but that like, the cliche that it takes a community is really true.
Yeah.
It's going to take everybody in a big scale to get conscious and,
not
make
just
those
about
changes.
bottom line, not just about money.
And it's not about private gain. I mean, you know, you can look at it the other way. If the community is taken care of, you're part of the community, you're going to be taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the real reality.
Mm.
You know, this
That's
thing
right.
of one person, you know, dominating these CEOs that get $1 million a day or something. Something of an improvement, but you know, you still have enough to live on.
Yeah.
And that's the problem in most cases, is that, you know, people are just being kept. It's sort of an economic slavery. It's a form of slavery, but
Yeah.
it's economic. It's no longer legal
No.
from that
Yeah.
standpoint of owning another human being, but you're still controlling their life. And I think mechanization has sort of so-called liberated us, but it's also sort of created an unawareness and a disconnection that's led to a certain almost arrogance, you know,
Yeah.
that, well, we don't have to pay attention to the rest of the life of the earth. We can do whatever we want. If the
Yeah.
climate's falling apart, we're just going to come up with a technological solution.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, you know. I mean, it's too big. It's bigger than we are.
Yeah. That's right.
And, I think the small scale solutions where people locally band together and take over, that reoccupy their own economy in a conscious way, and that's where what we're doing is called an associative economic process.
Yep.
It's an associative economic paradigm, whereas the other thing is a market economic paradigm. And communism ate it a few years back, and capitalism, I don't know, could implode.